How's it going, everyone? It is Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Let's take a look at the last video, which is, or not the last video, the last pick, which is Oracle. So we took Oracle yesterday. I took it at the close, took it on the buy signal. The 170, the November 1st calls for the November 1st $170 calls for 10.05. Right now, the stock today had pulled back and it is finding some support near that resistance, or sorry, near support that has now become resistance. So here's the test of that level today. So potentially could have gotten a better entry point somewhere over here as it confirmed that level, but we had CPI coming up, and I thought, look, if we have a good reading and we pop up, then I could be in a nice move on Oracle. So it didn't happen. Pop down, that's okay. As long as we're holding this level, this is my stop here at around 73.90. That's the area of support. So as long as we hold that, then we are in good shape. So we're in Oracle. Sedge today. I did take a scratch or a small win on Sedge early in the morning as it came and tested this low. So we got in for 39 cents and I got out for a 40-cent credit. So scratch that trade. And look, it still could go down lower, but my bias is changed on the market because excuse me, we have broken out of this compression. And today we are testing that level right here. So that has my short-term bias a little bit more bullish, mildly bullish. I think we may see some follow through here. That's what I'm looking for. So if that's the case in Sedge, yesterday the market rallied quite a bit. The stock didn't move up much at all. It kind of held this resistance level around 1910. That's a resistance level. And then on the morning, SPY had a gap down, also had a gap down flat. So I was like, look, if my market bias has changed, I don't want to get caught in this PDS. Let me take a scratch when I can. Maybe this will continue down. You know, I'm not exactly sure. Depends on I think if we don't get a lot of follow through, then the stock has a chance to crack down. But you can see that there's clearly some resistance or sorry, support here at this 1820 level. Looks like kind of right around this gap fill. Coming close up into play here. Maybe right above that gap fill. So maybe this candle, a little bit of support coming in, but nothing that any sort of lack of market tailwind could potentially break down. So Sedge, we took the scratch on. Our good friend WBA. Yeah, so far still kind of compressing. Didn't really rally with the market yesterday. Still kind of chopping around today. We're going to zoom out a little bit to the M30, just get a sense of the trend. Okay, so this green candle so far is holding, right? So we got this pop up, try to poke down below it, filled in the gap, found some support, and now we're inching up higher. We're getting some higher highs, higher lows, and we're finding some support right here at this 917 level. So it seems like that is where some support is right now, or sorry, some resistance is right now. So unless we can, looks like if I were to draw a trend line here, that works out pretty well. So create a good to cancel alert. Okay, so there's some trend line here. Unless we're able to break through it, then not feeling particularly great about WBA. Again, I think we're going to take it potentially as a loss. I just want to see if this compression on a D1 basis, if it can hold. So here's our trend line right here, right now, shorter term trend. If this can hold and if we can actually eat away at this candle. But right now, this green candle seems to be holding, even though it's still weak on a daily basis. So still holding it through until we get out of this level. If we break out of this level, we'll take the loss, but I'm willing to hold it and let it test down to that this level here somewhere around 1860, 1865 to see if I can at least take a better loss on that trade. All right. So yesterday in the market, let's take a look at what the day was looking like. So I mentioned Oracle pretty early in the video. We had this flat open. Here was a prior all-time high. Broke through that on heavy volume, and then we got this follow-through buying. We didn't immediately slap back down. So there was a nice entry point for some longs after the first 90 minutes of the day. So the market rallied, had a nice little rally, got a little bit overextended here, and then here we thought, okay, well, I thought we might get a nice move on this bullish cycle. So we got this big move down on this bullish cycle, and this bullish cycle actually did not produce. So this was a divergence from here to here. So divergence market didn't move too much, but you can see the move. We had some green candles. We had these little bounces all along the way down that tells us that there were buyers here, buyers here, buyers here, buyers here. This is the test of the prior all-time high, and that got eaten up. So all this was saying that we started to bottom out, and then we got a nice little pop-up to close the day. Now today, the market tested the open right here, tested that prior all-time high, bounced back up over here, tried to fill in the gap, didn't make it the first time, second bounce right over here, didn't quite get it, made a higher low, and now we're actually kind of moving in. This candle was kind of the big candle, actually. So far, this is pretty garbage, but now this tells us that, okay, we get something going. We might potentially fill in the gap. Here's a close, so we actually did fill in the gap over here. We may march to test that the new all-time high and try to make a new one. So certainly a mildly started off as a bid check, and then we survived the bid check. It looked like around 11 o'clock, that was a good time to enter, and that's where you get the meat of the move here. So we are going to look for some longs here, some longs that are close to support. Now, what makes it tricky today is, one, the volume. Well, this is actually a very low volume move down. This is a pretty high volume candle, and that actually kind of set the tone here to move up higher. But the volume is kind of weird and mixed and choppy. It's not super great. But let's see if we can find some nice strong stocks. I've tagged a couple here. So first one is FTNT, breaking out of that compression. Tested that breakout today, and now it is moving up higher. So you can see this is one you want to get on an LRSI pullback. Right here, and that's a quick 50 cents. Yeah, you can take on that stock. So I get in on that LRSI pullback. Net has made a pretty big move today, up 10%. A huge amount of ATR. I mean, it broke through this pretty wide choppy compression, lots of volume. You can see there's an early potentially gap and go trade over here. Now stock, it is kind of making some more steadier candles here as it's moving up higher. But this is going to be a nice one to study. You can see how here's the low, here's our second low. We'll continue to advance and march up higher. There's our LRSI area. But there is a little bit of resistance. This level around 93.50. Here's that resistance level coming into play all the way back from this prior earnings gap. So that might be a bit of a thorn in the side of net. But very nice bullish breakout, ton of volume. That might be a high plus trend line to worry about much later. But it's certainly breaking through a couple of different levels. I'm going to draw one here. It's broken through there, so broken through a whole bunch of trend lines. Okay, Square, another nice one today. Broken through this high minus, so there was this wedge here, broke out of this wedge through the 200 SMA, through some horizontal resistance here. Potentially maybe level here at 72, but I do like what I see in Square. It is marching higher. You can see that there's some sellers knocking it down in. So I think I'm going to set an alert for an LRSI pullback on this stock. See if it can't get through this trend line on the downside. Maybe test this level, find some support, bounce off, and then that might set up pretty nicely for a CDS. Crowd very strong in the morning. Broken through 2 SMAs. Has some room to the gap over here. This gap high is at 317-ish, 316.75. So we got this level, got this gap. Pulling back over here. Here's a LRSI alert triggered. This is a pretty wimpy pullback, so I think we had a pretty good shot of getting to that high of the day. So I do like this move down. Yep. So you can probably take it on this area right here. That's a nice move down. This stock has some room. So it's a nice little parabolic pullback, although it's not very strong relative to the market. So usually I like to see some relative strength on this move, but it's not really rallied too much with the market immediately. And a couple other stocks that did look nice earlier had reversed. So we'll have to see what I give for today. But what I am leaning on, I do like Square quite a bit. Now, I'm not sure how much will be affected by financial earnings. It's sort of electronic payments, so it's a pretty separate area relative to banking stocks. It's also a fairly choppy stock, but this is a nice volume today. Nice price action. So I think on Square, I'm probably going to recommend a CDS on this guy. We have some room until, let's see, we got this candle here. That's a pretty high volume candle. SMA over here. So yeah, 72. This is a decent long. So around a little above 72. So I think maybe the 71, 72 CDS could work. You could also just do some calls if you really wanted to. But I'd wait for a pullback, wait for it to establish support, and then on the bounce, I'd like to see relative strength. I'd like to see, I'd like to see relative strength on the bounce. I'd like it to remain on the sell signal. I'd like it to hold that support, and then you could probably get something like the 70, a 70-72 CDS. You can do next week if you want. I may even do this week. So that's what I would do for Square. So that's going to be the pick for today. And just making a note of that. And we're going to add that to our YouTube picks. Okay. Oh, that is not the right stock. All right, so that's the setup. Let's see if it happens for today. And we'll take a look at Oracle, WBA, and Square on tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching.